Yeah. Baby girl, you're so damn fine, though. Wanna know if I can hit it from behind, though. I'm sipping on you like some fine wine, though. When it's over, I press rewind, though. Talking bands, I got it. Benjamins in my pocket. I traded my truth for some robins, and he's playing Batman. Fatty's gonna rob him. Yeah. I got the Glock in my Robin. 17 shots, no 38. Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Ethan. Hope you're having a great day. Welcome back to video 9 of my channel, my vlog. So today playing 1-2 again at Twin River Casino. Before we get into the hand analysis, I have two quick announcements. One, I'm going to start playing at MGM Springfield pretty soon. It's the new casino that opened over in western Massachusetts, if you guys know where that is. So I go to school over at UMass Amherst. It's pretty close. So starting fairly soon, all my sessions are going to be over there. So that's going to be exciting. That's coming soon. Second, I just want to give a quick shout out to all the people who have been commenting on my videos down below, just giving me a lot of helpful advice and just letting me know all the mistakes I make and doing that on a consistent basis. So Arky Bass, Eodat2, Andrew Kang, and Matthew Liu. Thank you guys so much for commenting. Those are the 4 main people who have been really helping me out and supporting the channel. So all the advice really means a ton and really just helping me develop into a better poker player. So hopefully I make some better plays in this video, and we'll get into the hand analysis. So the first interesting hand we have here of the session, I am in early position with Ace-King of Hearts. Second orbit of the day, so fairly early in the session. Nice to pick up a premium hand here. So when it folds to me, I make it $10. Just a normal raise. Don't want to seem too strong or anything like that. So then the middle position player ends up 3-betting to $32. He's been playing loose the entire time I've been there for the short amount of time, but he's been involved in basically every hand, and yes, he's a pretty loose player. But when it folds back to me, I think about what I should do. Think about either shoving or just making a 4-bet. He has about 160 in his stack, so I figured at the end of the day, I went for the higher variance decision and just shoved for 197 total. He snapped it off pretty quickly. I figured he would have a lower pocket pair since I block aces and kings, but that's what I put him on. I honestly was just flipping. But anyways, we're flipping for some cards. The board, the flop comes 10, 10, 7 with 1 heart. Turn comes the 5 of hearts, which gives me a little bit of help, but the river came another 10, so when he flipped over to queens, he was pretty good there. So yeah, I mean, I think I played this hand fine. It was very early in the session, so I figured why not just go for it, go for the higher variance route. I think I might have been able to get away from it if I just made a 4-bet and he would flat that. I could have gotten away from this hand on the flop and saved myself a little bit of money, but regardless, I think this was a fine play. So the session went off on a great start, losing 2/3 of my stack of my buy-in, but you know, I ended up reloading. So this next hand I have here, I have about 300 in my starting stack at the beginning. So I'm here in middle position. I have Ace-Jack of Hearts. There's 1 check to me. I decided to make it $11, and we have 5 people calling behind, including the original limper. So 6 ways to the flop of Ace, King, 7 with 2 hearts. So really good flop for us, flopping a lot of draws, a super strong hand for us to continue on. So the small blind checks, big blind makes it $30. And when it folds to me, I think about making a raise for a little bit, but I opted to just float with a few people left to act behind me. So I decided to just make the call. Then the cutoff raises to $60, making a min raise. So that was interesting. When the big blind then calls, small blind folded, big blind calls, I think about shoving with the amount of money on the table so far, and thinking just the cutoff also had only 75 behind. It just seemed like a position where I can shove in. But at the end of the day, as played, I ended up making the call. Still thinking it over to this day. I'm not sure if I should shove or call, even this position. I'm leaning more towards a shove for just a better play overall, just to maybe make it heads up. But that's what happened here. So as played, I called. Turn came a 5, not a heart, so it doesn't really help me at all. Big blind checks. I ended up checking as well, and the cutoff shows for $75 total. And when the big blind calls here, big blind is a pretty big stack, so he covers me. And I have a couple things to think about. I mean, at the end of the day, it's 75 to call, and there's 400 in the pot already. So I'm getting 5 to 1 to call, and I looked this up compared to anything really against a pair, 2-pair set, whatever it is. I have a 25% equity, so obviously, like, me calling here would be, I think, profitable in the long run, just given it's a plus EV play. So I ended up making the call just because it is a profitable play in the long run. I think when I called here, I'm not expecting to win the pot. I'm not expecting a 10 or a heart to come through, but it seemed like the right play. So let me know in the comments below. I think I made the right play by just calling here. There's too much equity, or there's too much in the pot that I just can give up here with such a strong hand. If a 10 or a jack comes, I have the nuts. So there really isn't a whole lot that I can do to just ignore it and just fold here. So I ended up making the call. The river was another 7, not a heart. So when that happens, the big blind checks, I'm going to have to give up. There's no bluffs that I can do. I can't really kick him off the hand when he called that all in. So I give up here. Big blind shows ace-king. Cutoff showed queen 6 of diamonds. I don't know, second pair. But big blind ends up scooping that pretty big pot there. So I think I made the right play. I think I played it fine besides the shove. I don't think I would have gotten, besides shoving on the flop that I could have done, I don't think I would have gotten the big blind off the hand, but I guess, I mean, that's just how that played out. Next hand here, I am in the cutoff with ace-queen offsuit. This whole entire session, I think this is like hour 2 or 3, I haven't really won a big pot at all. I've been really card dead, just those two hands, obviously. Starting off the day like minus 500 or basically that. So, I mean, this is like the first hand that I actually win. Just a spoiler, I guess. But we get 3 limpers to the hijack. Hijack makes it $15. I talked about this with my friend. I went over this hand. He said that it would probably be better if I 3-bet this with ace-queen offsuit and the cutoff in position, obviously, too, with a bunch of money on the table, or some money on the table. But I ended up making the call instead. The small blind then goes all in for $16. Started the hand with $16. I don't know. But he goes all in for $16. Two of the limpers call, and obviously the hijack and I call as well. So we are multi-weighed into the flop of ace-jack 7. The middle position first to act, he goes all in for $39. The hijack ends up making the fold. Unfortunately, I really wanted him to call, honestly, but I decided to make the call. I mean, I can't really go anywhere for $39, and everyone else behind folds. And the hijack ends up revealing that he had kings, so I mean, obviously, I would have loved to call there since we have him dominated with the ace, but obviously it was a good fold with the ace-high flop there. But the turn and the river are blanks. Middle position shows jack 10, and I scooped that one. Literally, that was the first medium pot I've won all day, and it was like hour 2 or 3 into the session. So that's just how my day was going. Happy to scoop that one. Just wanted to throw it in there because, well, I won a pot, at least. That was good. Shortly after that hand, I am on the button with king-jack offsuit. In a straddled pot, I just don't have much experience in straddled pots, and my sizings are always way off. Unfortunately, my sizing are always way off. So I'm in the button, 4 limpers to me. I make it $15. I don't know what I was doing here. It's obviously it's a huge mistake. Just when I made it 15, and basically the blinds and everyone else calls, so we're 7 ways to the flop. With the $15 bet, it's obviously just way too low. But if king-jack offsuit in position, I think it's a decent hand to raise with. Obviously, I think I would have obviously gone for maybe like $30 or $25 to $35, somewhere around that range. Would have been a better sizing, but as played, made it $15, and we get 6 callers. So we're 7 ways to the flop of queen 10-8 rainbow. So the very good flop for us, a flop and open ender, and yeah. So there's really nothing I can say there. So pretty good flop for us. The small blind checks. Big blind ends up betting $20. The bet made no sense to me, especially when everyone else folded and actions onto me. I wanted 3-bet this one because the $20 bet just made no sense to me. I think he was just trying to. It seemed like he was on a draw for a price that low, and he didn't want anyone else to bet it, or something like that. That's what it seemed like to me. So I put him on a draw. So I ended up 3-betting it to $80, and if the small blind folds and the big blind reluctantly makes the call, he thought about it, tanked a little bit, then made the call. When he reluctantly calls, I'm putting him on a draw. It didn't seem like he really had anything, didn't really make a pair on that board. So turn becomes a 7, making a full rainbow there. Doesn't really change a whole lot. Once again, Jack 9, who would have flopped the nuts there, is still the nuts. So nothing much changes with that 7. He checks to me. I ended up checking back. I think normally in most situations I would bet just for pot control. But it looked like he was on a draw, and I'm also on the draw. So I figured, my thinking was I would check it because if I bet, he had a super small stack. I think he had like 75 left behind too. So if I was going to bet, he might call, hoping for still drawing with me, and I would probably lose if he has an ace or anything like that. I don't know. Maybe at ace 9 or ace jack he could be calling with for a draw. But that's what I would lose to. So I figured if he's drawing and if we're both drawing, then at the end of the day, I'm drawing to the nuts. So I'm okay with checking it back and revaluing on the river. So as played, I checked it back, and the river came a 3 of clubs, another brick. He checks to me. I ended up shoving for $75 effectively, and he quickly lays it down. So I think I made a good read on him, knowing he was on the draw. I don't think he had anything special, and I think he would have folded on the river if his draw didn't come through. And we might have been drawing for the same things. Who knows? So as a precursor, the next 2 hands that I played are not good. Just a warning, they are really, really bad. I already know they're really bad plays, but we'll talk it over. So I'm on the button with Jack 9 suited. Once again, I was super card dead the whole time, and I was kind of tilted, not that tilted, but more so annoyed and just card dead. But we get 2 limpers, middle position makes it $10, and it ends up being 6 ways to the flop. So I called because I think like 2 or 3 other people called in front of me, and I'm in position. So definitely will happily call for $10 and just kind of see how things go on a huge multi-way pot. So 6 ways to the flop of Jack 7-3 with 1 spade. So the blinds check. Then the under the gun player bets $25. And then it folds to me. I decide to make the call with top pair and a backdoor flush draw. So that's, just a standard call. And the blinds fold. So we're heads up to the turn. Turn comes the king of spades. Also, this opponent was the same person as last hand, who I put on a draw. So I figured he was a fair. I don't know. I won the pot against them, so I thought I would be confident and see where things are. So turn was the king of spades. King isn't the card I would like to see, but it's a card that helps me out just because it's a spade. So he checks to me. You can make an argument for checking it back. I think that's what I should have done. At least that's what my friend said I should have done, so I believe him. But I ended up betting $55, and he had about like 110 behind. And at the time, I wanted him to shove because I don't think he had a king. He didn't look like he had a king at the time, just the way he was looking at me. So when he shoved for 162 total, I'm in a tough spot. I can easily lay this down. I went over the scenarios in my head, and I can easily lay it down, but the way he was looking at me, the way he just got all nervous and pretended like his face expression looked like he was strong, but I think he was like bluffing. He didn't want me to make the call. That at the end of the day, that he didn't like that king card, and he didn't want me to make the call. And after just looking at his body language, which I think I really shouldn't judge a whole lot of his body language, I ended up making the call. Really weak call there with second pair, but just from the way he was, he didn't want me to make the call. But it did. So really just drawing, hoping for a flush here. The river came a brick. It's just another 7. So that doesn't help me out. He flips over his pocket queens, which is a card I absolutely never would have put him on because he limped under the gun. So he limped under the gun, and I never put him on queens. If anything, I put him on a higher jack, maybe? Ace jack, jack 10. That's honestly what I put him on. I mean, sets definitely would have done that, but I don't know. From his position, he seemed weak with that shove, but he scooped that one up on me. Just didn't understand his mentality of limping with queens, but I guess that in that scenario it paid off for him. He got max value. So yeah, that's how that one went. In this very last hand of the session, I am in the cutoff with Ace Jack offsuit. I only have about 180 in my starting stack. So straddle pot, 3 limps to me. I decided to make it $20. Once again, I think that, especially in a straddle pot and 3 limpers, seems way too small, but I ended up making it $20. The button calls, the under the gun straddler calls, and all the limpers call. So I think we're 6 ways to the flop of Ace 10 7 Rainbow. So it checks to a late position player, and he's a new player to the table, and also it seems like in poker in general. I don't know if he was new to the casino or whatever, but he was asking if there were $2 chips, asking what the red chips meant with $5 chips. He really had he just didn't know what he was doing. It really didn't. He just came in, sat down, and asked a bunch of questions about like chips and how much they were worth and stuff. So he ends up betting $15. So when that happens, given my situation right now, I'm definitely a little tilted and annoyed from that last hand, and I've been card dead the whole time, and I'm just trying to make things happen. So with only 180 in my starting stack with 160 in front of me, I decide to raise to 100, and I have like 55 behind. So my raise to 100 was not smart. It's just a move that was really tilted. I don't know. I'm easily beat by sets and 2 pairs. I think Ace 10, Ace 7 is very, very doable and likely. At the time, my thinking was when the limpers limp to me on a straddle pot, Ace Jack, my Jack should be the highest kicker because they limped, and I think anyone with Ace King or Ace Queen would at least raise it up in the beginning, pre-flop. So that was really my mentality the whole time. So I raised it to $100. Everyone else folds, action back onto the late position player who ends up making the call. And when he called, I put him on a weak Ace X hand. I think he's the type of player that would call with Ace 5, Ace 4, Ace 3 suited, maybe, something like that. But sometimes Ace 10, but I didn't see that to be really likely. So I thought I'd be good in the situation. The turn was a brick. It was a 5 brick, kind of a brick. I don't know. He could have any Ace X hand there. So once he checked to me, I had 55 behind. I easily should have checked it back. But once again, I'm tilted. So just shove all in for my 55 remaining. It's an easy call for him for $55 more. The river was another 7. He shows Ace Queen offsuit. I have Ace Jack, outkicks me, and that was that. So stacked, unfortunately. Played that one really horribly. Didn't love my raise. Didn't love my decisions to. I don't know. I just didn't love how I navigated throughout that hand, especially the last 2 hands. Just not proud of it. Just a little tilted, a little annoyed from being card dead. Maybe I could have done a lot better. But anyways, that was my session. I played for 6 hours, minus 580 for that session. Basically lost 2 max buy-ins, unfortunately. But anyways, guys, thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed learning and listening to me about how I lost 2 buy-ins at Turnover Casino at the 1-2 game. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed, please leave a like. Honestly, make these videos because it's really just for entertainment, and also I hope to learn from you guys in the comments below. So let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of the hands. Obviously, I love learning from you guys, and I read every comment. Really learn a ton, and really appreciate the people who do help me out a lot. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.